Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Closed Doors. And today it's the workshop Creativity and Styling with me and Nadine. So join us for today's episode of Behind the Closed Doors. If you like what we do, please subscribe to our channel, leave comments below, smash that like button. And do remember, I do give a lot of information during these behind the scenes videos. But it are just behind the scenes videos. If you really want more info, make sure to check out our tutorials. They go way more in depth, are longer of course, and give you way more information. Okay, I'm ready for today. So we have a small group and it's gonna be about styling and creativity. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Now, as you may or may not know, I absolutely love tether tools. We've been with them from, well, literally the start of the company when they only had the jerk stopper. A few years ago, we actually became the distributor for the Netherlands for tether tools. So that means that most of the tether tools products you buy in the Netherlands are actually from us. And we got a brand new product in. And I've been working with it for quite some time, but it's absolutely amazing. Let me show you. So first off, let me just show you the products you probably already know from tether tools. So there's of course the tether cables. So very sturdy USB-C cables and USB cables of course in all kinds of connections for every camera imaginable. This is the one that I use, the tether block, to make sure that I don't damage my board if anybody is standing on top of my cable. And of course we have the jerk stoppers over here. Really nice budget solution if you don't want to lose your ports. And trust me, when you tether, there's always somebody that will stand on your cable, yank it out of the port, and that's a very expensive, well, repair, but most of all you miss your camera for a long time. So let me show you the new products. So these are the Frios, and these are especially meant for speedlights. Now you all know the problem, right? That your speedlight falls off your stand? Well, with these, trust me, they are fixed like crazy. It's like crazy glue. So they have all these new products based on the Frio system, and it's absolutely amazing. I highly recommend you checking them out, because one of the things that I hate about speedlights is that instability on the stand. You know, when you just know it's gonna fall off, but it doesn't, but you know it's gonna happen, and that just holds you back a little bit in your shoot. Now, in all honesty, with me, speedlights actually did fall off the stands quite a few times since we started using the Frio, because it clicks in. It's literally rock solid. So great product, but now I'm going to prepare for the workshop. Now, as you know, we try to give a total program. That's also why we have the FD Academy, of course, or Year with Frank. We try to touch literally every subject that you can encounter with model photography. So also the business side, the retouching side, but also all the different kinds of photography you can encounter. So one of the things, of course, is also creativity and styling. And believe it or not, in my opinion, creativity and styling is the most important thing in a successful photo shoot, because you want to tell a story, right? And how do you tell a story if you don't have any creativity? You just photograph a beautiful model in front of a beautiful backdrop. And you see that so many times. You see the most beautiful girls against beautiful backdrops. And then you look at the image and you go like, beautiful girl, but what else is going on? And I really want that story. So that's where styling comes in. Styling actually means bringing something to a higher level for me. Now, Nadine, we already knew for many, many years, and she's a great stylist. She's super creative, but most of all, Nadine has a knack for getting stuff just right for the least amount of money. And that's something, of course, where we all struggle with. When I first saw the photos of David LaChapelle, I was going like, I want to do that. I literally, this is my life goal. And then you start calculating like, okay, what will a shoot like that cost? I don't earn that kind of money in a year probably. So that was out of the question. So you start to look at, are there budget solutions? And Nadine really is great for this. She can create stuff that looks like $1 million for just a few bucks. So today it's a weird workshop for me because normally I do all the talking and I'm literally dead tired after a day and my throat hurts. Today it's the other way around. Today Nadine is talking about her way of styling, her approach to styling. And the cool thing is today it's actually the first time I'm gonna see it, because normally during this workshop what we do is in our meeting room, Nadine will do all the styling with the students and I'm here in the studio. I don't want to see the styling because I want to be 100% blank when the model comes in with all the styling on, in this case also Nadine. The reason for this is I want to show the thought process in my mind, like, okay, I see something that they already saw. How do I respond? What I'm going to do with light? Does that mimic what they actually thought of? Because during the styling they also talk about lighting. So that's a very interesting part. Today, because of COVID and the studio is much larger, of course, we're going to do the whole styling part here. And I'm going to watch from the sideline to see how it goes. So that's going to be interesting. It's the first time ever I'm going to do this. So I'm very curious to see how Nadine handles this. But I know Nadine, she's absolutely awesome for this. So today, creativity and styling. I hope you enjoy this episode of Behind the Closed Doors. Let's go. Okay guys, set number 1 is always the warm-up set, so mostly we just choose for a simple portrait. In this case, nice backdrop and a beautiful jewelry, of course. Now with Nadine it's never normal, you have never time to warm up, it's full blast right away, you think, because this literally is warming up for Nadine, but for most models this is about the extreme. So you get where I'm going, right? This is the workshop Creativity and Styling. That means that in this workshop everything is possible. We don't shoot the stuff that you would normally go out with. We shoot the stuff where you don't want to go out with. This is the ridiculous stuff, the over-the-top cool stuff. But that's the part what makes this workshop really interesting, especially how to photograph it, how to draw the attention towards the model and towards this insane styling. So in this case we just used a normal softboxes, nothing special, not focused light, but actually very soft light to create a beautiful look on the jewelry. Now I wanted a little bit more separation, that's why we actually use a strip light from the other side to give a little bit more three-dimensionality. And that strip light is really important. Without the strip light the image still looks great. But the strip light just adds a little bit of extra pop, a little bit of highlight, and it just draws that attention of the viewer immediately towards the image and gives it a little bit more of an engaging look. So let's take a look at the final results, but most of all, look at the colors. We try to combine the same color scheme in the styling and of course in the backdrop. Now this is a challenge, of course, because in our studio we have the choice of many different backdrops. But what if you are in a studio where you don't have that choice? Try to use walls, wallpaper, try to be creative with materials. There is so much you can do as long as you remember, look through the viewfinder. Sometimes you only have one piece of material and you go like, this is not wide enough. Zoom in and make the material look wider because you are using compression. So if you shoot it with a 24mm, you need a lot of material. When you step back and you use a 70mm, you need a lot less material. Save money, save time, but most of all, get awesome results. Okay, let me show you the results and then let's go to set number 2. So first the results from set number 1. about set number 2, one could say, well, throw that in the trash bin right away. Actually, it's true, because the only thing, not the only thing, but most what she's wearing is trash bags. It can't get any cheaper. Well, a nude shot, okay, that's cheaper. But just normal trash can bags. And just look what she does with it. She creates a whole dress. Now, for this set, the idea was to create motion. So a little bit of flow in the dress. She wanted the dress to be the center point of attention, but not really the center point. Now that sounds a little bit weird, but this is what you can expect from clients. They know what they want, but they can't really translate it. So you as a photographer have to translate their wishes, which are often very vague, into something that is photographable. I hope that's the right word. So in this case, she just said, well, I want my dress to be nice and flowy, look a little bit like oil or latex, and I want a really nice shine on it, and it has to be cool. And we just ended up with the words cool, motion, flow, and a little bit of latex look. And I decided to just light the model from the side with a beauty dish and a grid, use some light in light, light the backdrop, and of course also use a blue gel from the back to create a little bit of an atmospherical effect. We started out with only one strobe. We ended up with, well, as you can see in the video, a lot more, 4 strobes. But every strobe has its purpose. You can do the same kind of shot with maybe 2 strobes, but by using more, I can use that light in light a little bit more to open up the shadows of that trash bag dress. For the very simple reason that dress is pretty dark. Now if I light my face correctly, the dress will be darker, right? So we use an extra light, a strip light with a grid, only focused on opening that bottom part. You can also use a big softbox for that, but the technique, I always call it light in light. So you set everything up, for example, with a beauty dish and a grid. Everything looks nice, but everything is too dark besides the model's face. And that's where you use a second strobe, a few stops lower than the main light, and that just opens up all the shadows. It's about the same as you can do in Lightroom with the shadow slider, only we do it with light. Hence the name light in light. Do make sure, however, that you re-meter your main light, because if you add a second light and it also lights a little bit on the face, those lights will add up. It will not be a lot because you're using that light on a low setting, but it will add up. So make sure that you use a light meter to meter that light on the face again. Okay, so second set, a little bit more extreme, a little bit more motion, and well, let's not keep you guys any longer in suspense. Let's take a look at the results. And I think you're going to like this one. I absolutely loved it. Okay, set number 3. Challenge. Same dress, different makeup, different coat, different story. So, my first idea was, let's create something a little bit in the style of David LaChapelle. So, pink backdrop. Lot of styling with all the stuff in the set, like there was a couch where everything was built up. The idea was Gruella is thrown out of her building on the street. She's laying on the street on garbage bags with her shoes, with her beautiful dresses, with a cape somewhere hanging. Let's create it. Now one of the students actually said, hey, wouldn't it be nicer if you created the backdrop with, for example, stones? Because we also have a backdrop with stones. Why pink? Very simple. You can do it more realistically, but then you also expect something realistic, right? Or you can do it in the absurd way, over the top, pink backdrop. So it's literally a studio scene. It is very much taste dependent. I like them both. I like it more realistic, but I also like this more absurd way.
The cool thing about that pink backdrop is you can get away with a lot of stuff, like the materials you use, the setup you use, the expression of the model, because it's so absurd and so over the top, people don't think it's real. And that's the cool thing about photography, right? We can do it both ways. We can go over the top or we can make it realistic. In this case, the main challenge was, because it's so chaotic, to find lines. Now, I tried something with shoes, so I positioned one of the shoes a little bit closer to the camera to make it one of the leading lines into the chaos. So if you follow that shoe, you have a really nice line towards the model. That was the idea. Later in the results, you can see if I succeeded. In all honesty, these are the sets where I also struggle. Because there is so much going on, there's so much chaos, there's so much different elements in the set. There's the expression of the model. Do you shoot lower? Do you shoot higher? What is with the backdrop? Is there any weird stuff still showing up? This is one of the setups that will really make your mind race with solutions. But it's also sometimes a little bit of a disappointment, also for me. It looks so incredibly cool on the video. You are now already thinking like, this has to be the greatest shot ever. We don't have the budget of David LaChapelle. So what we actually did is we didn't go for that David LaChapelle look. I actually went for something completely different. We started out with a big softbox, emulating a little bit the ring light effect, overexposing it a little bit, making it beautiful and flat. Immediately you already saw it looked nice, but it wasn't that pop effect. So we started with a beauty dish and a grid only on the face of the model. Then we used a big softbox to open up all the shadows around. Still not nice. Red strobe on the backdrop, create a little bit of a fading effect in red. Looks really nice. Now we want a little bit more atmosphere, so we used a blue spot from the back aimed straight at our model. Straight at the camera. So the sides of the light still hit the model, but most of the light actually hits my camera. And on my camera there's still that KNF concept black mist filter. So that means that I get a really nice glow over the image. If you don't have that filter, get it. Buy it online, it's absolutely amazing. And if you don't have the money for the filter, it's not that expensive. You can always breathe on your lens. So what do I mean with this? You take your camera, you take off your lens sun hood. And as you can see here, you get a fog on your lens. It slowly disappears and you shoot as soon as you see the effect that you like. So you see it all blooming around in your camera. You wait a little bit, you see it, the fog is getting less, and then you press when you see it. This is a little bit difficult to steer. The filter works way better, but if you don't have the filter, just breathe on your lens and you can get a similar effect. Different, but similar. Yeah. Well, don't expect too much, but let's take a look at the final results from this set. Well, we had a little bit time left, so set number 4. And I told Nadine, well, you know what, we have a little bit time left. Don't change too much in your makeup. Just throw on something and let's create a portrait. I wanted to show something with a reflective backdrop. Nadine can't do anything normal, so she came in with, again, a totally new styling, totally new set, still using the trash bags, by the way, so that's very clever, reusing the same material for 3 sets and making it look different in all 3 sets. It's the same stuff she's wearing, guys. This is genius. This is really, really cool. So, everything with gold. Don't stand too far away. Of course, you want a full body. We also did some full bodies, but most of all, crop close to that model, crop close to that face, because this is the part where it gets interesting. Normally I want to show as much as possible from the sides. I want to give my image room to breathe. But in this case, the styling is so extreme and is so cool. Now when you fill the frame with that face, it just becomes so more aggressive, so more edgy. So in this case, I really went close to the model, zoomed in all the way, and just took a shot like that. And I think that has so much impact. I just love it. Now, don't get me wrong, the 3/4 and the full body are cool too. You're going to see them in a moment. But that close-up, that jumps so much out of the frame. I absolutely love it. Okay, so let's take a look at the results from set number 4. Okay guys, that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I also hope you enjoy all these little tidbits I tell you in between the sets. I don't want to make it just a behind the scenes video. I want to give you some extra information. Now that extra information of course is really cool. But if you want to go really in depth, get one of our instructional videos. Those tutorials run for an hour to 2 hours, are jam-packed with information. You see the light setups a lot better. You see the retouching. You see the stories behind the images. You get so much more information than that I can do in the vlog. But still, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. On Wednesday, we have a digital classroom episode called Ask Me Anything. Just email me to the email address you see below, your questions and your images you want reviewed. Do remember, this is for next Wednesday, so that's when you see the vlog in 2 days or 3 days. Don't send in questions afterwards. You might think, well, do, because we are doing these digital classroom episodes more often. So if you think, hey, I see this on Thursday, digital classroom was yesterday, don't worry. Send in the questions you want to ask me and images you want reviewed. And then for the next digital classroom, we try to incorporate it into the digital classroom. So we have a little bit more varied program. Okay, I think that was it for today. Next week, we are also at the Photo Days in Belgium, so make sure you check us out there. We are at the VDEC booth, printing huge prints and doing live shoots, of course, with a really edgy model. That's going to be also a lot of fun. For now, I would like to say stay safe, keep shooting, but most of all, be creative and do some styling. Thank you so very much for watching, guys. See you again next time. Bye-bye.